I got to my card that says trans. Let's talk about it. The position, like, look, other countries have national health services. The Democratic position is leave it up to parents, doctors. Just leave. It's not the government's decision. That's the Democratic position. What's wrong with that position?
Wait, say that again?
The Democratic position, right? Joe Biden. Like,
well, the Democratic position in this state has been that the school has the right to hide it from the parents. That is something that is not going to go well with the average voter. And again, I'm not even a parent, and I get it.
Jon Lovett has Bill Maher on his podcast, the Crooked Podcast, on the Pod Save America YouTube channel. And just as you would expect with Bill Maher nowadays, when wokeness is right in front of him, he shuts it down. And he shuts down Jon Lovett in this podcast. I mean, I'm surprised Jon Lovett would even have Bill Maher on his podcast, just knowing how Bill Maher has been nowadays. But let's go ahead and get into this clip here where Bill Maher has to shut down Jon Lovett's woke views live on the Crooked Podcast on the Pod Save America YouTube channel.
Okay. I think the governor here used the word snitch. Now, if I'm wrong, I didn't say it. So I think I read that.
So there are delicate problems here. But wait, there's delicate problems here, and there's a delicate problem where you have a kid, all right, who is either non-binary or trans, who feels scared at home, feels unsafe at home. Those things do happen in the world. There are things that happen in the world. But for the most part, that's not what we're talking about. For the most part, what we're talking about is a teenager who has felt that they have a gender dysmorphia. So what they feel like is that they feel deeply unhappy, depression, all really rampant.
Yes,
and they go to their parents.
They feel that, and then they blame it on the thing that has been put in their mind way too much, that it may be because of you're in the wrong body, to put it probably wrongly, but sure, that we understand what that means. Okay. Now, it could be that case. When Trump said there's only two sexes, again, pendulum swinging way too far to stupidity. Okay. Obviously, sex is more complicated than just two sexes. There are people who absolutely, are quote unquote in the wrong body. But when you're a kid, when even a teenager, and you're that confused about everything and you have no idea and you're upset for many other reasons, the idea that they put it, let me just finish.
I'm not saying it.
I know. I could see you were ready. I could see you pulling back the bow. And the fact that they put this in their head too much, that's my thing. Should you tell a kid, look, there's a default setting for humans, male and female, but there are variations. That's absolutely true. Some people are attracted to people of their own sex, and some people are actually in the quote-unquote wrong body, and that does happen. But the amount that they emphasize this, I compared it once on my show to entrapment.
So
see, there you go.
I disagree. I'm sorry. Is that not the end? Is it? No, I thought entrapment had a period at the end.
Could I explain it?
Yes,
though?
Explain. I think we all get it, but yeah, explain it. Entrapment.
I don't think everybody does get it.
Okay, explain it.
Okay. Well, what is entrapment? Entrapment is when you suggest something to people that they weren't ordinarily going to do. I use the example of after 9/11. The FBI got caught basically entrapping some people, which is what they went to people who excuse me, I'm not done.
All right, I'm sorry. You're right. Honestly, that was rude. That was rude.
If you enjoy content like this, make sure to go ahead and like the video, comment your thoughts, subscribe to the channel. It would help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
That was rude. Bill, finish. You're explaining how being trans is like being recruited into Al-Qaeda.
Well, that's glib and
absolutely 100% glib. Stupid and glib.
It is.
Yes.
Because it's not true. And
right.
You didn't even let me get through the
You're
thing.
right.
And now I got to go.
You're just going to leave? We're in the middle of a debate.
Yeah. No. Okay. I'll finish this. Entrapment. Like, okay. So they go to somebody, they go to a group of guys. They did this in a group of poor black guys in Miami and were unhappy with America. And, hey, wouldn't it be great if we blew up the Sears Tower in Chicago? And these guys didn't even have a gun. And it's like, yeah, I hate America, or I got problems with America. That does sound kind of cool. And, hey, well, we can get you the explosives. That's entrapment. Okay? You put an idea in people's heads that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Do I think in most of America they did that in schools? I don't. But I think in enough of them, in enough far-left places, they did constantly have this idea in in the minds of children that maybe you're not in the right body. I mean, the New England Journal of Medicine advocated for taking sex off of a birth certificate, I believe. It was like you're assigned sex at
Assigned
birth.
says at birth.
Assigned.
Yeah.
You're assigned.
I think that's right.
I was assigned it by my dick, okay, when I was born. Yes, and again, to tell kids it doesn't always have to be and isn't always the default setting, but that's a different mentality than they put in the minds of kids. And that's why this debate goes on. And the fact that you think, or a lot of people on the left think that even if you just have this debate, it makes you a bigot, you just have to roll over. You asked about the Biden administration. That was their position. If you even question this, you're some sort of a bigot. And this is new science, and it has to do with children, and it's not going to look good in the future, that position.
Can I just respond to something?
Now you can.
Now I can respond? All right. Can you just all right. Let's just do. There's a lot. You definitely said your piece.
Just say your bullshit while I'm in the bathroom.
Just stay for 1 second.
Okay, I'm kidding.
Unbelievable.
I'm kidding.
All right, no, I know. Okay, a lot of things there. First of all, this is going to sound confrontational. For a long time, people said, older gay people are recruiting kids to be gay. And they wouldn't really be gay. It was they were being recruited, they were being groomed, that they were being drawn. That was the conservative position. The Christian right position for a long time was the reason you didn't want to have gay teachers is they're going to recruit. That the gay lifestyle is going to look so enticing and so exciting that it's going to bring these poor defenseless boys, they mostly boys, into the gay lifestyle and destroy their lives. But of course that wasn't true. Really, all gay teachers were an example.
Right. Yeah.
Look. There are a few examples of people getting older and realizing that they shouldn't have transitioned. That happens. It's real. That's real.
Yeah. Maher is just saying what a lot of people are thinking but are too scared to say. And he's saying it in a way that makes sense. He's not denying that some people, truly feel like they're in the wrong body. What he's pushing back on is how often the idea is now being introduced to kids before they even get a chance to figure themselves out. And when he brought up entrapment, he wasn't comparing being trans to terrorism. That's just people twisting his words. What he meant is that if you keep putting an idea in a kid's head, especially when they're young and confused, it can shape the way they see themselves. That's not hate. That's just common sense. Kids are figuring life out, and pushing these ideas too hard, too fast, can do more harm than good. And when Bill talked about removing sex from birth certificates or just asking questions that get you labeled as a bigot, he's right to call that out. That's not science, that's groupthink. Bill's not against trans people. He's just saying we should be able to talk about this stuff without getting attacked for it. He's not trying to cancel anyone. He's just asking people to slow down, use their brains, and stop acting like kids are political experiments. You don't have to agree with every word he says, but he's acting like this conversation shouldn't even happen. Let's just be honest about that. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments.
More than a few.
But there are also really important surgeries that people get for their heart, and they go wrong, and somebody dies. And nobody says we must stop the cardiologists. No one says we must stop the surgeons. We say, let's...
That's your analogy?
Well, my analogy is only that wait, let me finish. Can I finish?
Yes.
Is it my turn to talk?
No. You're right.
And what you say is, let's make sure that this version of it is being practiced well. We don't get rid of the specific surgery. We don't throw out a whole field of medicine. We say, let's make sure we're doing it in a way that's healthy. The science, the research, all right, makes clear that, yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are people practicing it in ways that maybe go too far. But for the most part, study after study shows that gender-affirming care saves... I'm talking. It's my turn. I was so quiet for so long after I interrupted a few times.
But okay.
But once I stopped talking, boy, I was good at it. And that gender-affirming care saves a lot of lives. And the truth is, we talk about these edge cases, talk about athletes, talk about locker rooms, but for the most part, what we're talking about is a very small group of people that just want the opportunity to live and express themselves. And there is a war on that group of people from the right to make salient extreme cases, edge cases, not for the purposes of stopping those, but for doing what the Trump administration is doing entirely, which is stopping all gender-affirming care altogether and making trans people fucking nervous when they have to pee at the airport. right? Which is the end result of all of this.
And of course, that's awful, and I agree with all that, except the part about the studies. There was a very big story this year. It was in the front page of the New York Times. A woman, I forget her name, and she had done, like, it was a 10-year study, did not release it on purpose because she said it would weaponize the argument from the other side. So in other words, it came out not the way you wanted the study to come out.
Yeah.
Not what you said, that it's, all the studies show that. No, it is a mixed bag. That's true.
Okay.
Some people, yes, it's the right thing. But to take that risk at that age before you know shit about anything, yes, sometimes it's pretty obvious that this should. It's a very hard call to make. And again, this was a very long study, very thorough, and they wouldn't release it because it came out with the wrong conclusion.
But the reason because it is a hard question, because it is a serious question.
Right.
It is a personal question. I don't want Donald Trump deciding. I want parents and doctors.
Well, you just said parents can get shut out.
Well, I don't think parents should get shut out. There are rare exceptions to that. Look, we all believe that parents should have the decisions over their children, but we also recognize that some parents do such a bad fucking job that the kids are in danger. That happens outside of trans issues. That happens all the time. It's terrible. Some parents are fucking terrible. Somehow the fact that there are terrible parents in the world gets erased on these questions. Do I think that schools should, as a baseline, be keeping a secret from parents? Of fucking course not. No one thinks that.
Well,
no one thinks that.
Apparently that's not true. People do think that. And there is no perfect answer to this. It's as many nutty questions, the least bad answer.
And the least bad answer is to not have the government decide from above. It's just to leave it up to people and parents and the kids and the doctors. Right? You want the government to ban gender-affirming care for kids?
You want to lose every election? Just keep coming down on the side of parents coming in second in a who gets to decide what goes on with my kid contest.
First of all, I'm not talking about winning or losing elections. I agree with all that, but
this whole issue is just complicated. And Bill Maher is just pointing out something that a lot of people are too afraid to say. Just because something feels progressive doesn't mean it's always being done the right way, especially when it comes to kids. He's not saying trans people don't deserve respect. He's saying when you start pushing major medical decisions on teenagers who are still figuring out their identity, you have to stop that. You can't treat it like it's a big deal, because it really is. The youth is our future. You can't just brainwash these kids. These kids are our future. Bill's bringing up a real concern, and we are introducing these ideas too early, too aggressively. When schools or culture plant the idea that every emotional struggle might be because you were born in the wrong body, that's not support, that's suggestion. And sometimes that suggestion leads to permanent decisions that are later regretted. He brings up a study, not from some fringe outlet, but one so uncomfortable that the researcher didn't release it because it didn't fit the narrative. That alone should raise red flags right there. Science shouldn't be about politics. And let's not forget that this isn't about banning anything outright. Bill's saying these decisions should stay between parents, kids, and the doctors, not politicians or federal mandates, and certainly not activists who think any debate equals hate. The moment we stop asking questions is the moment we start doing real harm. Bill's pushing for honesty, not hostility. That shouldn't be controversial at all. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this video, and I'll see you guys on the next topic.